Hello again, witchy people. I've been gardening. Well, I was gardening a few days ago. I've now been planting seeds, which is something I don't do. I've actually planted them in little plant pots. So I'm going to, do it all properly. I haven't done that for about 10 years, but that's because for 10 years I haven't had to. My garden has basically self-seeded itself and just grown beautifully. And of course now I've lost all my flower beds because of the building work we're going to have done. But it kind of made me think of a couple of things, actually. First of all, what goes in a witch's garden? And secondly, what you should be slightly careful about. So, the quick answer to what goes in a witch's garden is whatever she or he wants in the space that they've got and where they live. Simple as. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a garden. I mean, for a long time, I just grew herbs on my windowsill. Didn't even have a herb garden outside, which is what I may have to start doing again very soon, for the next year or so. Anyway, I mean, I think if you're going to use your garden to complement your path, not your garden path, but your witchcraft path, you're going to have to consider a couple of things. First of all, obviously, what you will use and how you will use it. But secondly, what you are able to grow. Because obviously, the top end of my garden, the south-facing part of my garden, is extremely stony and very well drained, slightly clayey, but it is well drained. Now the bottom of my garden, which obviously the fence there is north facing, it's very peaty soil. It's it's got a lot of fibres in it and stuff, but it is claggy. It is not well drained at all. So I have to be really careful what I can or can't grow in certain areas of the garden. Now, I'm planning all these seeds at the moment to grow and hopefully seed parts of my garden and plant out bits of my garden. And I do want a baneful herb patch. The simplest ones being obviously I want deadly nightshade, aconite and foxglove, which is quite good because all of these can be grown in the shade, especially the aconite, which is wolfsbane, and digitalis foxglove. It grows very well in shade, dappled shade, not too dark shade, but it will grow in the shade. But I also have to consider the fact that I have grandchildren and I have pets, and other people around me have cats, and I have wild animals coming into the garden. So I have to consider that as well. Obviously, I don't want my grandchildren especially getting towards my more baneful herbs. I don't want them touching anything. And they are quite good. They know that, like, when we go out walking, they're not allowed to touch foxgloves. So they know that already. But there are an awful long list of plants that are poisonous to cats and dogs and even horses. So what I'm going to do is, although I do grow a lot of these plants myself, for instance, I call it Sarah's camellia. The woman who lived in this house before I did, she actually lived in this house from when it was built. She planted the lilacs and the camellia. Now the camellia blooms when they drop, and mine do. This camellia goes mad every year. I mean, it probably drops hundreds upon hundreds of blooms every year. The blooms, when the dogs chew them, are poisonous. They're not, they probably won't kill, but they can make your dog really poorly. And obviously the most well-known of flowers that causes illness, especially for cats, and it actually causes kidney failure, are Asiatic lilies. And I do love lilies, and a lot of people think it is just the powder on the stamen. So if they brush up against the plant and then lick that yellow orange powder that dyes everything, it can kill them. It causes them kidney failure. But if they chew the leaves and chew the flower petals, it can cause serious problems and even death. So I thought I'd go through some of the more, people don't realise this. I will put a link down below if I can to somewhere where they will list a lot of these plants. I think Charlie Dimmock has a list somewhere. And obviously I do suggest looking up in the country you live in and what kind of plants grow near you to see what may affect you and your family and your pets. So, and I've had to write a list of ones I can remember. Now, the easiest ones to remember are potatoes and tomatoes. Now, dogs shouldn't eat raw potatoes. My old dog used to. I mean, she lived a long life, but especially green seed potatoes should be kept away from dogs, and you know, they do dig, so you have to be careful. If you can, have your vegetable beds on a raised bed so the dog can't jump in. But you have to also bear in mind that the leaves of potato and tomato plants are poisonous to cats and dogs. So, tulips. A lot of people don't think tulips are poisonous. They are part of the lily family, and as lilies are poisonous to dogs and cats, then so are tulips. Daisies and buttercups. Who knew? Daisies and buttercups are actually poisonous to dogs and cats, especially cats. Box, which is a type of hedge. Cyclamen, that's indoor cyclamen and outdoor cyclamen, are highly poisonous to cats. Cornflowers. Now, I do grow cornflowers in my garden and my cats do play in them. They tend not to chew them, so I'm hoping my cats are quite sensible. Though Coco has fallen in the pond twice. Okay, crocus. Crocus is a weird one. Spring flowering crocus, spring crocuses are poisonous to cats in that they can cause serious sickness. Autumn crocus are deadly. So spring flowering crocus can cause your cat to be seriously ill, and your dog. Autumn flowering crocus are deadly. They are up there with lilies. So that's another one. Daffodil bulbs. And now a lot of bulbs of plants are, once again, quite poisonous to cats and dogs. And of course, dogs like to dig, but funnily enough, cats dig more than dogs on the whole, especially if they are outdoor cats who use the toilet outdoors. They dig. Okay, so daffodil bulbs, very poisonous. Ferns. A lot of ferns are poisonous to cats and dogs. Foxgloves, obviously. Now, up there with something that's very common, the buttercups and the daisies, is also foxtails. Now, foxtails, we used to call them flea darts when we were younger, because you used to be able to pick them and chuck them at someone, and they got like a stickiness to them and barbs. Now, these can cause serious problems if a cat or a dog eats them and chews them, because these little barbs can actually can cause damage inside, and that's why they should be on the list as well. They can also get caught in cats and dogs' ears, in their mouth, even in their nose, and cause damage to their nasal passages. So, like I said, this is something that can't really be avoided, but it's something you can check your animals for each day. So yes, in that sense, they are dangerous to your cats and dogs. What else have we got here? Geraniums. Geraniums are poisonous to cats and dogs. Laurel, bay laurel, poisonous to cats. Lily of the valley, poisonous to cats and dogs, and that's the bulb and the flowers. Marigolds, there's another one. Poppies. Poppies are poisonous to cats and dogs, but especially to cats. Privet, and it's the berries, the blackberries on a privet hedge. They're poisonous to cats, dogs, and I think horses, not too sure though. Snapdragons, a lot of people grow snapdragons. They are poisonous, especially to cats. The umbrella plant, once again, especially cats, and yew is poisonous. The yew tree is poisonous to cats and dogs. Sago palm, I don't have a sago palm, but my neighbour does. Once again, poisonous to cats. Castor beans, and we used to call it the castor oil plant when we were younger, and it has those beautiful big glossy lobed leaves, and it produces ricin. But the castor beans, and sometimes also when you break the stem and it has the sap, is not good for cats or dogs. Azaleas. Now, azaleas are, I always think of them as small rhododendrons. They are part of the rhododendron family, and they are poisonous to cats and dogs. And then we have some of the more ones that I actually do grow in my garden. ivy. Ivy is poison to cats and dogs, especially the berries. Now, I do get a lot of heads on my ivy and a lot of berries. So ivy, poisonous to cats and dogs. Lobelia, beautiful bedding plant for the spring, flowers for months, poisonous. Lupins. Lupins are up there once again with lilies and tulips. Verbena. Sadly, verbena is on the list as well. Wisteria. Wisteria is once again poisonous, and a lot of that is to do with the seed pods that hang. Elderberries, poisonous to dogs and cats. Oh, I must say as well, tulips, not only poisonous to dogs and cats, but horses as well. Tulips are very poisonous to horses. So bear that in mind. Calla lilies, once again part of the lily family, and clematis. Most forms of clematis are poisonous. And something someone told me is because the passion flower can be considered a type of clematis, passion flowers can quite often be poisonous as well, especially to dogs. So there's a list, and it's a bit of a rambling list, and I know. So all these are things to consider if you want to plant your garden to complement your path, where you should plant things to keep members of your family safe, because we do consider our pets as parts of our family, I do hope, and also to keep people who don't understand safe as well. So there's all those things you have to consider. I mean, I do grow, obviously, wisteria in my garden. I pick the pods off at the end of the year and I dry them out, and I give them to another gardener who reckons he can grow wisteria. I don't know if he can. I don't grow lupins anymore. I don't even grow lobelia anymore, but when I do, I grow it. It's an amazing idea. You buy a huge pot and then a medium-sized pot and then a small pot, and what you do is you fill the pots up with earth and then you stack them. And if you plant lobelia in the gaps, so you get the big pot, fill it up with earth, put the medium-sized pot on it, fill that up with earth, and then in the gap you have left in the big pot, fill that with lobelia. Do the same for the next one, and in the top one, fill it with lobelia. And when it flowers, it's like a cascade of lobelia coming down. It's a really cheap way of getting something really dramatic in your garden, and if you have it tall enough, your pets won't get to the lobelia. So if you like it, there's a good way of growing it. And like I said, tomatoes and potatoes, if you can grow them in a bed, is very good. Another thing we used to grow potatoes in was old tyres, car tyres. Used to turn them inside out. You don't have to, but if you turn them inside out, they can make a really nice flower pot. But yeah, you stack the tyres up and put your potatoes in, and then you can just take the tyres off and root through the earth, get your potatoes. Done with that one, go down to the next one, they'll start sprouting and growing. Really good way, and your pets can't get to them. Tomatoes, you can actually grow tomatoes in, I don't know if you've seen them, strawberry, you used to call them strawberry flutes, and it's basically a big tall plant pot with holes in the sides, and you push your plants in and they grow out of these holes. Especially good for a lot of the cherry tomato varieties and trailing tomato varieties. Sunset yellow ones grow beautifully in them. And obviously with all other things, you tend to find that foxgloves and wild plants such as this, animals tend to steer clear of anyway. They do kind of know. They're a bit more clever than most humans, to be honest. So consider what you need to grow, what you want to grow, and what you can grow. And then when you've decided all of that, consider how you're going to grow them for the best, obviously, where you can grow them physically, but where you can grow them to keep other people and other animals safe. So there you go. That's it for now. I hope I didn't waffle on too much and didn't chuck too much information on you. Like I said, I will try and link something below if I can find the Charlie Dimmock list, because I know she has quite an extensive list of what you can, or not what you can and can't grow, but what is poisonous to cats and dogs especially, and also what parts of the plant are poisonous. So there you go. Thank you for watching, witchy people. And if you do get some gardening done, I hope you really enjoy it. And I would love to see a few uploads out there. If you're growing something and you've got a bit of a witchy garden, share it. And I'll share mine when it's done, I promise. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, witchy people.